Hi everyone and welcome to this Melodrive tutorial video. In this video I'm going to be showing you another way to change emotion in Melodrive. So I've already shown you the simplest method, which was the discrete method in the last video. In this one I'm going to be showing you the positional mode, which is where you can assign emotions to game objects in your scene. And then as another object moves around your scene, the emotion in Melodrive will automatically figure out what's the overall emotion that should be heard and change the music to match that emotion. So you can think of this as useful in places where, say, for instance, you might have a player which has their own home area, which might be kind of calm and tender, but then if they venture out into the wild world, you might want the music to become more dangerous and angry and that kind of thing. So here I've got a very basic scene set up. So I have the sample scene again, but I've modified it slightly. I've added 3 spheres. One's called happy, which is the yellow sphere. One's called sad, which is the blue sphere. And then we have a third sphere here called player, which is going to be our player character. And then I've already gone ahead and imported the Melodrive Unity package and added the Melodrive prefab to our scene. And if I click play mode, we'll see what happens. Absolutely nothing. And the reason for that is because I haven't checked play on start. And I actually don't want that checked in this example because I want to do something a bit more advanced, which is set up these emotional points before Melodrive starts to play. So I'm going to leave that unchecked, and I'm also going to leave this initial style and initial motion completely untouched. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new script on our player. So I'm going to add a component, I'm going to create just a new script here, and I'm just going to call this player script, for want of a better name. And then I'm going to go ahead and edit that script. So this player script is going to be doing all the work for us. I'm not going to create any other scripts in this tutorial. So what I firstly want to do is just grab the Melodrive plugin component from the scene. So I'm going to create a variable up here, MD short for Melodrive. This is just my my convention that whenever I'm grabbing the Melodrive plugin, I just call it MD. You can call it whatever you want. I've seen some devs call it, say, music, or even, you could use the full Melodrive here. But I'm going to stick to MD for now. So as soon as the component starts up, I'm going to grab the game object from the scene and then the Melodrive plugin component from that game object. Oops, it's Melodrive. Get component, Melodrive plugin. Great. Now, what I want to do, before I do anything, I need to initialize Melodrive. Now, in the previous tutorial videos, that was done automatically for us because we had this play on start button checked here. Play on start. This was checked, and that automatically initializes Melodrive in this style and this emotion. But now what I want to do is I want to manually do that because I don't want the Melodrive to automatically start playing. I want to control when it starts playing after I've configured it the way that I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the init function here. So init, the default style is piano, and the default emotion is neutral, and I don't see a reason why to change that, so I'm just going to leave those two as they are. Now what I want to do is I want to add emotions into Melodrive, these emotional points. Remember that the aim of this tutorial is to show that if you have one area which is designated to be happy, one area that is designated to be sad, we want to be able to automatically change that. So we need to tell Melodrive about these areas. And the way we do that is using emotional points. So I'm going to have two different emotional points. I'm going to have my sad emotional point and my happy emotional point. And I'm going to add them into Melodrive. So the way I do that, first I'll just grab the game objects. Now I've got those two game objects, I need to tell Melodrive about them. So I need to call this method called add emotional point. Now the emotional point, as you can see, takes three parameters. We have an X position, a Y position, and a string for the mood or the emotion. So I need to add my first emotional point, which is going to be for the happy object. So I'm going to pass in my happy transform position X as the X coordinate and the happy transform dot position dot Z for the Y coordinate. I'm going to tell Melodrive that this point represents happy, like that. The reason why I put in the Z coordinate instead of the Y coordinate is because if I think about this as a 2D game, then my X coordinate is going to be my left to right here, and my Z coordinate is going to be away from me or towards me. The Y coordinate is actually going to be up and down, so I don't want to bother with that because I want all movement in my game to be on this two-dimensional plane that's going out ahead of me in the Z axis. So I've added my happy emotional point, and I can do exactly the same thing with sad. And then finally, what I want to do is I want to set my listener position. So the listener in Melodrive is the point at which the overall emotion should be calculated at. So right now, my player is halfway between my happy and sad points. It's at 0, 0 here. So that means that we should get something halfway between happy and sad, which would be a neutral emotion. The listener position is set in Melodrive with this set listener position method. But before I call that, I actually need to get my player. And then I'm going to set my listener position to be my player.transform.position X, and again player.transform.position Z in here. So what this has done, just to go through this one more time, is I've told Melodrive there is a point here where my happy sphere is, which is going to represent happy. And there's a point here where my sad sphere is, which is going to represent sad. And then where we want to be, where we want the music to sound from, is called the listener's position. And so I've set the listener's position to be where my player game object is X and Z coordinates. Now the final thing to do would be to call md.play, because this is what starts the musical playback. And this is the thing that I wanted to avoid doing before I'd actually set up the emotional points here. So if I go back to the main scene and click play here, okay, nice tune that Melodrive just generated there for us. But, you know, nothing's happening right now because, of course, the player isn't moving around. So what I want to do is, in the update method, I'm going to move my player left and right. So what I want to do is, I'm just going to do this very hackily and simply. So firstly, I'm going to get my transform position. Vector 3 position equals transform dot. Oh, actually, I don't need to find the player up here. I've just realized I can just, because this is on the player, I can just change that to this. Transform dot position. So this is my current position. I'm going to say if my position dot x is greater than or equal to 10, then speed times equal -1, or my position dot x is less than or equal to -10, then the speed, then we're basically going to be flipping the direction that we're traveling in with this speed variable. I haven't set up this speed variable right now, so I'll do that up here. Speed can be a float, and we'll say 1. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to add to our position. So pos.x plus equals speed times time. And then finally we want to set that back to our transform so that the change takes effect. Transform.position equals pos, like so. So now when I switch back to Unity and I press play, what we'll see hopefully is this white sphere going between our happy and sad points. Okay, very, very simple demonstration there, but the music still wasn't changing. Now, why is that? Well, it's because Melodrive doesn't know that we've updated the listener's position. So what we want to do is just tell it. So again, using this set listener position method. So I'll just copy that down here, and we can simplify this to be pos x and pos z like that, because that's going to be correct. So now if we switch back to Unity and try that one more time, we should hear the emotion changing first to sad and then back to happy. In fact, just so that we can hear this a bit faster, I'm going to change that speed. I'm going to up it to 4. So it should go 4 times as fast. So now with those few lines of code, we can change the emotion in Melodrive between any number of emotional points. You can just add them in with the add emotional point and then set the listener position, and Melodrive will automatically work out what the overall emotion can be. Okay, so that's it for this video. I've shown you how you can use the Melodrive add emotional points. There's actually much more that you can do with the positional system. So the emotional points can change what emotion that they represent. They can also be moved within Melodrive as well. You should check out the examples folder here. And here we have example number 4 shows the positional system in a little bit more detail. In the next video, I'm going to talk a bit more about styles and how we can change style in real time. Okay, so thanks for watching. You can check out that and the other tutorials on our channel. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.